Question: what are different ways that a married couple can keep the fire burning in the relationship as they progress through their lives together? I'd say they need to pay their gas bills. Now, on a serious note, they really need to pay their gas bills. But I mean by that now, the gas that fuels their love. And what is it? The sacrifice, the price for showing your love to your spouse. You know, in the in-love and the honeymoon phase that we spoke about, why did this woman like this guy? Why did this guy like this woman? Why? It's because they showed them love. And what's the meaning of showing them love? It's not about sentimental thing that you just express, you know, in empty talk like some people they say. No, they show it in action. Remember the last time for the guys, when the last time you told your wife, honey, I love you, know how much I love you. But she wasn't convinced by that. She would say, I don't see it. And the man would be just kind of puzzled. How could you see love? It's something in the heart, right? Well, it's just, yeah, that's what we think. But if you really have it in the heart, it has to show in the actions. That's what they mean. Which means they need to work on loving one another. There are many actually ways of keeping the fire burning in the house in a positive way. And these are what they call them love languages, or the languages of love. Some of these languages of love is words of affirmation, such as always say thank you to your spouse, regardless. Always say thank you to your spouse. Brothers and sisters, wallahi, even to the most obvious thing. What is the most obvious thing? For a woman who spends most of her time taking care of the family and the house and the children, the man needs to every now and then say thank you, Jazakallah khair for taking care of the children, Jazakallah khair for taking care of the house. They don't hear that very often. Same thing for the wives. When you see your husband coming back from work, this is obvious. He does that every day almost. It doesn't hurt you to say Jazakallah khair for working so hard for your family. When he goes to work, Jazakallah khair, may Allah reward you for taking care of your family. These words, wallahi, they make big difference in their life. For the most obvious things, just being thankful and grateful to them. Also, thoughtful gifts like they asked for. In addition to that, spending quality time, something that they need from you. Indivisible attention, both husband and wife. And again, remember that when you speak the language, you need to be bilingual. The way you understand love, you need to understand from their perspective, not just from your own perspective. Do your best, inshallah, tabaraka wa ta'ala. And by the way, just subhanAllah, something that I just remember right now, in regard to the concept of love, you know, sometimes husband and wife, when do they try even to solve the problem? They have different understanding of when do we need counseling. For husband, counseling is like shooting himself in the foot, yani. It's like a no-no thing for them. Women are more willing because they always look for improvement. So they don't mind if they can bring someone in to help them out with their situation. They don't have any problem with that. Men, they have this ego thing. So for them to bring someone from outside, listen, I don't want anyone to know about this issue. Well, here's the thing. Men and women, they think differently about the problem. Women, they need assurance every time. Men, they wait until it breaks down, then we fix it. It's just like the concept of, I bring an example sometimes with the rain. Rain, just like the drops of problems. One thing that you need to know about problems and about troubles and about trials and tribulations in marriage, that the most interesting thing about them in marriage, they are actually so daily, which means they're on daily basis. There is no break, there is no weekend, there is no vacation from troubles. You choose when to take break from that, based on your attitude and the way you deal with these things. So drops of rain, they signify the problems. For men and women, when it starts raining, for the guys, or basically for the ladies, when do you turn on the windshield wipers? When it starts raining, when exactly do you turn on the windshield wipers? Most women, they say at the first drop. Most women. At the first drop, why? Because they're always alert, they want to be ready, and they anticipate troubles, right? So they start turning it on. What you don't realize that sometimes in the rush of making that judgment, what do? You mess up the whole windshield. There isn't enough water to wash it. So you mess it up. And that's exactly what happened. The man made an innocent mistake. You go and you bring the entire laundry, you mess it up completely. Take it easy. Sometimes, when something really serious, you can bring it up. But if it's 1, 2, 3 drops, wait. Just wait. It's not worth creating a problem or a fight over this issue. For the guys, when do you guys turn on these wipers? When you can't see through. Most men, when they cannot see through. I remember even one time I was driving with my wife and it started raining. As a man, it's raining, so what? And I could see my wife, she told me, don't you want to turn the wipers? I said, yeah, I will. And I just kept driving and talking. And I could see my wife's hand is reaching out. Tried to turn it on, basically just saying, come on. Eventually, it's an interesting thing, subhanAllah. That's how men and women, they look at problems and how they see these things. So for husband and wife, for the guy, don't wait until you cannot see through. Because sometimes when you try to turn it on, you would realize that your wipers doesn't work. Or you haven't changed it from last season. So even as you try to clean it, what happens? You leave a lot of streaks there that you will never be able to finish it or fix it. Until you stop, you put investment, you're going to buy a new one, put it there, and then you clean it. By the time you do that, it stopped raining. It stopped raining, but you've lost them for the rest of their lives and your life. And for the ladies, don't turn the problem right away from the first drop. Wait, sometimes it's worth, just being patient. Okay, I'll forgive him this time, second time. When it starts raining enough that you know that it's gonna clean that stuff, then we bring it up. When it becomes something that's really worth of making an issue out of it, you can do that. So make it balanced, inshallah ta'ala. Is it haram to fall in love or to be in a relationship with someone before marriage? Well, it depends. If you're talking about someone that it's approval between a husband, between families, that this is basically, they are now in engagement period, fall in love with him. That's no problem with that. But if it's someone so that you propose later on, when you know that all odds going to be against you, I think it's extremely dangerous to take that route. Because if you check the reality of marriage, ask those who are married, most likely they're married to someone who was not their first love. Most likely. And they're still happy and will live happily ever after, inshallah ta'ala. So don't risk it, I would say. Do not risk it. I'm dealing with some cases where brothers and sisters, boys and girls basically, some of them are mature, even in their 20s, they go actually to even graduate school. And unfortunately, they're falling into that close to the haram. They're very close. Basically, they're doing everything except for that. So for me, I said, what do you want me to answer you? And you already know, you're feeling guilty. That's why you send me the answer by email. So I would say, stay away from that. And it's not, wallahi, worth it to risk it. Something you need to know that when people want to get married, they're serious about it. And if they're not ready for it, they're going to damage their future. I have so many cases where people, when they come to propose, they ask about the history. They say, did you know anyone before? How much should I know? How much should I dig to ask about, and so on. And that's why many kids, they love to marry someone from another city. Why? Because they know too much about the persons, the people in that area. So the guy in this area, he doesn't want to marry any girl from the area because I've heard a lot. So better take someone from somewhere else that is completely oblivious about their interaction and so on. I would say it's very dangerous. Be careful with that. Okay, these questions actually, they're supposed to be part of the Love Note classes. Like why do sisters' parents only require engineers and really good looking brothers and look past good manners, deen, heart and obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? First of all, my dear brothers, I hope this is coming from a brother, I would love from you to work on your self-esteem. If this is how you see yourself, then that's your problem. Work on your self-esteem, and if they say no to you, they're losing, not necessarily you. At the same time, if they're saying no to you, it might not necessarily be because you're not an engineer. It's because of a matter of maturity, compatibility. Work on the other qualities, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, if anyone, they're asking about marriage counselors. If anyone wants counseling, they can send to muslimfamilyconsultant@gmail.com. And inshallah from there you could do some scheduling bin Allah Azza wa Jal. Again, muslimfamilyconsultant@gmail.com. Okay, the situation here also, I have been fully supporting the house for the past 3 years. My husband, seems to be a female asking the question, lost his job 3 years ago. Alhamdulillah, I have a well-paying job, and it becomes frustrating. Doesn't a situation like this kill love? I also feel like I have truly lost respect and so on for the man and the father of the kids. It's truly a problematic situation. I mean, this is not just an isolated incident. It's becoming a mainstream and a common situation where many men are losing their jobs and the women are supporting the household. This is one of the dangerous scenarios and situation that kills not just love, it kills also the marriage. Because one of the things a woman really look up to her husband is him being taking care of the household and taking responsibility. Yes, he lost his job, so it depends on how much he's doing to earn and find another job. If he's just taking advantage of his wife, or just taking a back seat, waiting until things improve for him, not taking serious action, I would suggest that he needs to work so hard on this. Again, if they need any counseling, they can inshallah ta'ala check with that email. Can a man have multiple wives in USA? And what Islam says about it? What can be the reason for a man to have more than one wife? Well, can a man have multiple wives in USA? Well, the answer is yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, USA is a country that has perhaps the highest rate and the highest percentage of practicing polygamy. The only difference, they don't call them wives, they call them girlfriends. So it's the same thing, the same concept, but they don't call them wives. And in America, as far as I know, you're not allowed to have more than one wife. However, they don't mind you cohabitating and living with many women, as long as you don't call them wives, or you don't register them wives. So from a legal perspective, there's a loophole in the system. It's not for the Muslim to take advantage of. There are many actually people taking advantage of this. Look at the Mormon church, for instance, and others. It's because legally you cannot register more than one wife. As for having multiple women in your life, that's up to them. Islamically, of course, why is that? Why a man can't take more than one? There's more than an answer for this, but the simple thing is that Islam is a very practical religion. This is a solution for a real crisis. If anyone has a better solution to solve the number of women always basically outnumbering men, bring it to me. I'll be more than happy to help with that, inshallah ta'ala. But Islam doesn't beat around the bush. It's very direct, very practical. We have a lot of women without husband. What can you do about this issue? As a matter of fact, I had some sisters came to me angry. They were angry in my face. And they say, you Shaykh, you Imams, you guys are betraying us. I said, how come? They said, because you're not vocal enough to support our cases. This lady, she knows that she can never be a first wife anymore. She knows herself, her situation, her age, whatever situation she's going through. She might not be able or successful to find a guy to marry him when he's not married. So therefore she said, I'm okay to be second wife, third wife. You guys need to be vocal to advocate for our cases. I said, well, you know what, you're right. We are not vocal enough really about this issue. However, we are just, it's a tightrope for us. We live in a situation that it's not easy for us to talk about these issues without being harassed or being looked at in a certain way. So therefore, I cannot say more than this. It's a real crisis that requires a practical solution. Wallahu a'lam. Question: how can someone fix marriage when years of patience with the husband who doesn't want to pray or connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, being spiritual with me, basically? How can we do that? How can this, why? And it always affect the intimate relationship. It's a very serious matter really. And even when he says, I love you, it just, I cannot say it back, she says. He says, I love you, but I just cannot buy this. Again, remember, because you need to love her the way she understands love. When it comes to spirituality, just like I said, spiritual failure is a crisis that kills marriages. So therefore, men and women, they need to work on that individually. And for the lady, may Allah be with you, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you for your patience. I hope if you can make a plan, like make him your da'wah project. Talk to somebody that you know who can help, inshallah ta'ala, bring this husband to his senses. Hopefully, inshallah, if you bring someone from outside, they can help with that. Because usually, husband and wife, it's very hard for them to take advice and nasiha from one another. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla in the Quran, He says, فَبْعَثُوا حَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهِ وَحَكَمًا مِنْ أَهْلِهَا. You bring an arbitrator, a representative from her side and one from his side so they can talk to each other. Otherwise, from a husband and wife, it might be very hard and difficult to take nasiha and advice from one another. So bring someone from outside would be better, inshallah ta'ala. Was there a hadith to the effect that marriage increases love? That marriage increases love? I'm not really sure about the wording. If you know anything about the wording of this hadith, bring it to me. Can we talk about ruling of sharing husbands or wives' secret issues? Well, husband and wife, they need to make sure that whatever happens behind their closed doors, particularly in their bedrooms, these are confidential conversations and confidential basic practices. You have no right as a husband and wife to go out in public, talk about what happens in your bedroom, by any means. This happens between girlfriend, boyfriend. Everybody's talking about these issues. But husband and wife, they show respect to them. So a guy comes to talk to a friend, his friend, and he says, wow, you have a hot girl over there. But he says, by the way, this is my wife. He says, oh, I'm sorry. They show respect with a wife, but if it's a girlfriend, whatever. So Islamically, there is no excuse when it comes to people leaking these news about their intimate life and so on. That's one thing. Second, even if they have some issues, a wife, if she has an issue with her husband, it's recommended that you keep it confidential to work it out with your husband or your spouse together. Same thing with the husband. If there's an issue with your wife, try to work it out together. Don't take it outside until there is no other option or no other solution. One thing men, they need to understand. Women, they talk about problem. Men, they keep silent about them. That's the natural thing. Women, when they're in trouble, they like to take it out. Men, when they're in trouble, they like to take it in. So for the ladies, when your husband is not willing to listen, that means he's acting like another man. And for you guys, when your wife wants to talk about it, she acts like another woman. Therefore, give her the chance to talk, and you need to be patient to listen. Otherwise, if you don't listen, she's going to have someone who would listen to her, and she's going to take it out. So therefore, if you want her to keep it in, that means you need to be the person who listens. When you listen, just like we said earlier about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't be judgmental. Just listen. Just listen and see what exactly would be going on. I'll take the last three questions, inshallah ta'ala, we'll close. Many questions about in-laws issue. Basically, husband's love is kind of under pressure because of the fight between families and her family and his family. So they're affected by their in-laws. Well, subhanAllah, the problem with that is that when a husband and wife, when parents, they match their children together, they find a husband or a wife for their child, what they do, in addition to matching the kids, they actually try to match themselves with that opposite family. And they consider themselves extended part of that relationship. So therefore, they feel liberty of expressing their feelings and their whatever about the relationship, and that affects the boy and the girl who are in that relationship. So therefore, for the boy and for the girl, they need to understand that if there's a fight between their parents, I'd rather you be neutral, which means let them sort their issues out, and you guys just live happily ever after. I know it's difficult and hard to say, specifically if that's couple coming from a tradition that the boy or even the girl are under so much control or pressure from their parents. Sometimes in the families, because the father was responsible for the education and the wedding and all that stuff and so on, they feel the right to say or to give basically opinion and even interfere in that relationship, because I paid for all of this. So they consider themselves, they have the right for that. That becomes an issue. And I would suggest for the boy and girl to realize that even if they invested in your marriage, it's for you to set the limit for them to what extent should you be involved in that. Let's say if the father comes to the man and says, listen, don't talk to her father. Don't talk to him. Simply, you respect your dad, but at the same time, why? The man didn't do anything wrong to me. I understand. You have an issue with him. Please keep it between you guys. Let us not mix all these issues. Same thing, the girl. If the father or her mother comes to her, she says, don't talk to his mom. This lady, she's this and that and so on. If you don't have any problem with her, why? So if they have issues, I would rather that they keep it among themselves and you guys stay neutral as much as possible, inshallah. The question is, if the husband is not respecting his wife and is not treating his wife with respect in front of other people, how should the wife react to this? Again, remember, for the husband, perhaps the wife, she's seeing that she's being disrespected according to her terminology and definition of respect. For a man, perhaps he acted in a way that he thought he was respecting his wife. So therefore, if there is something going on, I'd suggest for the sisters to talk to the man in a very practical way and tell him, listen, I really felt hurt by that. I want to understand what's going on. I need you to know that this is something. Basically, try to communicate. Try to use that verbal language. And for the husband, if you really want to be happy, you're going to have to listen. Same thing. If the man is the one who's hurt from his wife, you need to communicate sometimes to your wife that this is how I understand respect and love. So if you want to love me, respect me in the way that I understand that, not just the way you understand this. Last question, inshallah. You mentioned that people shouldn't get married because he or she is going to make you a better person or a better Muslim. What should be the reason to get married? To become a better person. Well, what does that mean? I'm not saying that marriage is not going to make you a better person, but it's your choice to become a better person because of your marriage. Means marriage does not make you a better person automatically. It doesn't make you automatically a better person. You're going to have to work so hard so you can become a better person, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. It's very important to make this difference. Now, if you want to get married and you're going to expect that marriage is the thing that makes you a better person, that is a problem in your understanding of marriage. But inshallah ta'ala, there will be an opportunity. It's a platform for you to improve your life. Bi-idhnillahi tabaraka wa ta'ala. Finally, I would like to recommend, inshallah, for you this coming class, this coming weekend, inshallah azza wa jal. Sheikh Omar Sulaiman, he's a local of your community, also the instructor of Al-Maghrib Institute. Behind the scenes, I've heard him speaking, wallahi. It's a beautiful, beautiful experience. It's a good opportunity for a husband and wife to take a spiritual journey. That's good. Actually, this question, subhanAllah, I mean, this is a good opportunity for them. Meaning, if you would like to clean your heart and become a better person, go ahead and connect, read or study or take the class, the behind the scene. A full weekend is going to be, inshallah ta'ala, in Dallas area. Registration is outside for this class. I would like to take the opportunity and explore this on an individual basis. How to purify your heart, how to become a better person, so that when you get married, inshallah ta'ala, marriage is going to become like a booster. Instead of becoming a burden, becomes a booster to your iman, inshallah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Again, remember, when it comes to relationship, marriage does not really kill love. It's you and your actions that might kill that love in that relationship. And if you want to have a perfect model that is considered, perfect, even with the problems, with the trials that you go through, it's the model of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who said, "Khayrukum khayrukum li ahlih." The best among you are those who are the best of their families, and he was the best of their family, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this beneficial to all of us.